Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Jujutsu Kaisen on a Friday, and we're going to watch episode 17, part 2 of Thunderclap, a weird two-parter that happens to work better as single episodes. And if this feels like it's giving you deja vu, then all I can say to you is ka-chunk or gachong or whatever the hell the storyboarder said it was gonna be. Thanks, Waylon. Because we're gonna do it all again. Now, I don't usually do this, but go ahead and break them off with a little piece of the remix. We talked for like an hour about this episode already, and it's been a week, and I've seen some more people talk about it. Not a lot, honestly. I haven't gone back and looked. But, it's gearing up today. It's actually not Friday, I lied. It's gearing up today to watch some Jujutsu Kaisen. And I couldn't consider or even conceive of a world where I could move on to the next episode without watching this one again. And I could do that off camera. I could do that on my own. In fact, I kind of would need to, sort of, because the way that I actually want to watch it isn't a way that can be very well filmed. At least not if I'm going to be putting it up on YouTube. I'll try to figure out what I can do in terms of editing this. But what I really want to accomplish here is I want to go into my Discord and check the widget that somebody made just to see if that will be useful, because that might work, actually. Hold on. Okay, there's nothing that I can use immediately right now to make this work perfectly. That's fine. I went looking because it's an ongoing project in my Discord and that I'm trying to think about in terms of, like, getting something off the ground to enable reaction syncing so that I can do pausing and play and seek and stuff and share that with you via like a watch party style system, preferably integrated with various streaming providers so that you can legally access the content, like if it would be through Crunchyroll or something, and I could just skip to 3 minutes in the video on my video and it would skip to 3 minutes in the video on your video, and we could figure out some way to make that sync up, and I could have a recording of those key presses that I would like sync up in the captions of my YouTube video or something. That's what people in the Discord are working on. I just don't know how to implement it on my end yet. I'll talk to them about that. Or maybe they'll see this and think about it. Anyway, totally neither here nor there. The way that I like to watch episodes like this is over and over in little bits. Like, to watch things and stop and start again as things come up and talk about them as they go. And I didn't get to go and Sakagaburuize this episode and like really dive into it and sink my teeth into it. So I don't feel like the bow is tied on this one. I don't feel like the game is over. I don't feel like the story has been told completely. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to watch it the way that I want to watch it, and if I can't put that up on YouTube, then so be it. Like, but I want to do this, and I want to share it, and I feel like it's the right thing and way to do this. So hopefully I'll be able to find a way to be able to share this style of my voice with you. This is the way that I initially wanted to watch things, and if you go back to my earliest videos, the ones that I've had to like battle for the copyrights for and to keep, Lane in particular, and a couple of other early series, this is how I watched those series. They're full video in thing, and I'm pausing all throughout to take notes and to go back and to look over things and to review pieces of animation, to speculate and to think. Here, most of our focus is going to be on flow and on noticing things and on animation. In many ways, this for me is what my videos are for many of you. A way for you to go back and watch what, when you watch my videos, there's another voice present, like there are my eyes that you're seeing through as well. In this case, it's just me again, but with some of the insights that I've gotten from people elsewhere. Speaking of which, I do want to pull up the Discord because Monko Man and a couple of other people have had some interesting conversations there, and I want to include that in part of our discussion, as well as I will be pulling up Sakagaburu, and we'll be going and looking at attributions for some of these cuts. But before I even get there, before I even get there, I just want to watch the episode again and do it in a flow where I feel comfortable pausing and stopping as we go. So there will be no timer for this. If it ends up on YouTube, it will be based on pure synchronization and probably heavily edited so that it's got like bars over it or something that obscures the footage, but in a way that you can tell what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. I probably won't be able to include audio except in specific instances where I want to reference it potentially. And this is going to be a lot of a video for me to edit at the end of the day because there's going to be a lot of editing that needs to be done. And all of those things are like factors for why this isn't the primary thrust of my content creation, because timer-based videos are highly reliable and I can almost always get them up and not feel like I'm heavily infringing on copyrights or stealing content from people, and talk about the media that I want to talk about and get that voice out to the world and out to you. So this is harder and a little bit scary, but I invite you to come along with me as I share this space with you. You are welcome here, and I'm happy to dive back into a fucking insane episode of fucking insane anime. All right, let's watch this shit. We got dialogue by Kaizoku. We'll keep it on the honorifics track. We're at 0 seconds. You can see my thing. I'll keep this up so that you can see the play pause. Okay. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's go ahead and watch episode 17 again. Not timer.
Yuji. お前は強いから人を助けろ。
Transition, we're letterboxed, we're in it, and then we cut away. Teeny stinger, and then we're over here.
最初は2匹の玉剣だけが与えられる。他の式神は長服を済ませなければ扱えない。手持ちの式神を増やしながら長服を進め。
Okay, that's recording along with. I will have the manga here. That's what I'm gonna do as well. Is have the manga over here, so that I can look at this as well, and I'll figure out how the fuck I'm gonna edit it all together in a bit. But I want to be able to scroll through as we go. It seems like fun, so it's all synced.
手持ちの式神を増やしながら長服を進めていくことで。ようやく10種の式神を手にすることができる。
終わり？さっきの女の子もそうだけど、すごく強い。
So much of his expression is like not there. Okay, that's so funny. Like from the way that I forget his name. From the way that he stands and moves through this pose.
終わり？
I was expecting like very JoJo's-esque manga moments that like were much more posed-y. This portion of the manga feels very much like that. It actually reminds me of certain specific elements of Morio and other particular fights. But Araki does these big like booty in frame like poses that we get in the anime, and we don't get that in the manga. It's added. It's like given more. Yeah, why does he mention them being so
ボロボロ
young?
なのに近寄る隙を見せない。でもその出血じゃ俺が何にもしなくったって。ああ。
He's still just going, but you don't understand.
だが複数人での長服はその後無効になる。
Nullifies the technique after the exorcism is done.
にとっては意味のない儀式になる。
So that's really great. I really like having both translations here. They're clearly different in interesting ways. Part of the difference is that like the framing is of he's on his last legs is like internal monologue, whereas in the anime often you have to change those things so that they're actually dialoguing. Otherwise it's like, how are we context switching into the person's head? Or are they actually literally speaking and explaining their shit to the other person? And the answer is they're literally explaining it. So he wouldn't say he's on his last legs. He would say you're on your last legs. Dang. Although it may be one of those things where there's no difference. Anyway. But for explaining the technique, having both translations is good. By the way, I don't know if this is a good manga translation. It might suck. I just pulled up the first one I could find.
でもな、意味はないなりに使い方があるんだ。
誰だよ。派手だな。
続きだ。
Wait, so where is that? So that split. Blah, 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 you done. I bet the head of the household used it this way too. But we put that here instead, right?
式神は重複しないと使えないが、重複するためならいつでも呼び出せるんだ。
まさか。
Thunk, thunk, and this whole thing is fucking added.
こいつを重複できたやつは一人もいない。なんで
Okay, and we split it so it goes here instead, so it flows differently. Okay. So this is the Nande da Badi Baba. Some era, heads of the respective households killed themselves. Who are the heads? One like me, and one like you. You get what I'm trying to say, right? But that doesn't mean I can become stronger than you. I bet the head of the household used it this way too. Blah, 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 you done. I could also just do this as a manga reading, but this is fine. This is good. Skip. Oh, that's sick. That's great. That's a great view on that shot. Okay, cool. Rad. Those fucking eyes, man. This is all fucking added. This is all added. All the, like, spinning around, the lights going out. Okay, there's this Gwu moment, but that's the earthquake. No one has ever been able to do it. With this treasure I summon, and it's black there, but none of the other background stuff exists at all. It's so much simpler. Okay, so having begun this, we must mention the thing that has been mentioned to me many times, and it makes a lot more sense now. Megami's suicidal tendencies have become very clear and obvious to me, but they were not quite as obvious as they actually are. Because this reveals to us that your boy has been trying to whip out the gat from day one. Megami wants to escalate from zero to fight to the death at every provocation. It's amazing. So he's been queuing this one up. He's got his bullet in the chamber. He's Jack Sparrowing it. He's like got the one bullet he's waiting for, but he's because he's not Jack Sparrowing it because it really does want to use it on himself. Damn, it's dark. It's dark. It's harsh. So I guess the closest we get is this moment where we've got the wolves howling, and he's like standing in the midst of it, and it's been summoned, but. Okay, and then the faces and frames afterward make sense as well. I paused here because the cut that we're about to get is like... So it's not the moment when it becomes clear to me that the episode's going to be special. That moment kind of happens when we switch to Letterboxd, but it really happens for me... here. Right here. Here. Because this is so simple in its framing, and we're already in this, like, this liminal weird space of lights and crosswalks, and this isn't a real place anymore. This is a castle of checkerboards and chess sets and stripes. It's a floating hellscape. It's a level. It's a video game level. Like, this isn't Shibuya. This is the Shibuya that you fight through a bunch of people in a street fighting video game, right? Like, this is a different place now, and it feels that so poignantly and so immediately, combined with the letterbox, combined with the color grade. It like pulls me into it. But it's this cut. That's the first thing that like makes me recognize that we're in for something special. But it's the moment when this shit happens that actually takes us there. And suddenly we are in something special. And suddenly we're in the beginning of an 80s OVA with avant-garde, super digital signage that's lost to space and time, reflected on other things. Because that's what we're in, actually, right? We're in, like, stuff floating around in ways that doesn't make sense. a place of mangled things together, reflections on skyscraper windows against skyscraper windows against skyscraper windows as you walk past, and you're not sure where in the house of mirrors that is the center of the city you really are. It's not shadows, but it's light and shadow, signs and symbols. So it takes us from a real place, well, I guess from a real place to a very strange place, an in-between place, a place that should be full of people and is empty, a place that should be full of color and is black and white. And then from there takes us to an other place, the depths of the shadows. It all pulls away, and this shape none of that shit is in the fucking manga. So, to my Discord I go, because I know somebody mentioned it. Oh, there it is. It's Hisashi Mori! That's who it is! I knew that somebody had told me, like, who that was. Of course it was fucking Manko, man. The sequence, Go also did storyboards. Yeah, it was Hakyuko doing, like, a ton of this stuff. Direction and storyboards for the sequence of Megami summoning Mahoraga, key animator Hisashi Mori, and it's Mori-san whose style we like really see here. Yeah. Okay, and then if we look at Mori-san, some One Piece, some Chainsaw Man, okay. Yeah, okay. Shit being wild. Okay. Okay, cool. And some particulars in, like, Monster and Darkness styling. And Evangelion okay. Cool. We will go Sakuga Brew. I just needed to do, in some instances, I didn't really need to do it there. I just wanted to know who that was, because I know somebody had mentioned it. And of course, it was Monko Man coming in clutch with the big comment, which is amazing. And I think... before we even go any further, I want to read out this portion of Manko Man's, like, response, because it quotes Hakyuko, who directed a huge amount of the episode. For that section, depicting beyond human understanding entities and forces of nature within a short amount of runtime, the most effective way is to feel it through ordinary people's POV. So that is the general approach. If it is easily followed and comprehended, then it already compromises the context, and not able to be lost in scale and chaos, which is the theme. The point is not to understand it, but feel it. What just happened is the aim, and that exactly connects to the next sequence. And then to jump off of that, because I think it's valuable. Someone on my Discord, Gold. Hi, Gold. I disagree with your take about the amount of detail. Art isn't art because it communicates the right thing to the most amount of people. It's art because everyone will interpret the same thing differently. By putting as much information into it as the artist wills, it's then up to the audience to respond to it. Whether you can understand it, what it evokes is more important than what you know, because an artist who tries to make you know something for sure within their art is simply trying to thrust their interpretations onto you without the synthesis that occurs while someone else views something that is outside of yourself. And some other stuff about Vincent Chansard and being around. I fully agree with both, and that's pretty cool. I didn't mean to disparage it by talking about there being so much detail here. I meant to try to convey exactly that idea that, like, there's so much here that it's, like, incomprehensible in some ways, and there is some benefit in certain circumstances to, like, having more comprehensible stuff. It's part of the reason that I like shonen and, like, child-aimed shows. They're simple in their storytelling in some ways, and that's something that I talked about in the very first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, this, like, simple shonen idea. Now we're off on that far end of the other spectrum where we get toward the degree of incomprehensibility in our art, where it evokes things that we maybe don't understand, where I talked a lot about the value of clear and simple, obvious sort of storytelling that reaffirms things that you already know. Here we're in a space of exploration and discovery, and they're different spaces and both have a lot of value. So I'm on to it. I was just saying I think that both have a lot of value, and a lot of people get lost in the sauce in this episode, self included. I get lost in the sauce in a very appreciative way, in a very like, holy shit, they lost me in the sauce. This is a dope sauce. But I've definitely seen people making comments that are like, animation sucked in this episode. What the fuck's going on? I don't understand it at all. And no, you don't have to animate and create to the lowest common denominator. Obviously, that would suck balls. But accessibility is important. Reminds me of a simplicity in the flow, all equals energy in my show. So I'm sorry to do this, but it's a weird set of rap lyrics from a Savant song with Donnie Goines, and it's the harder I grind, never taking a breath, never mind the games, figure I mean nickels, had to get a dime, became simple, my fame trippin', the change trickled down the pipeline, I write rhymes, wishing on a star that I might shine this lifetime, you know I dumb it down so the public can digest, giving them food for thought, now they grubbing on my chest, dig in, so push it in a song, melody in the flow, it all equals energy at my show, yeah. Okay, the idea that's present there is that this is like a highly lyrical rapper who simplified his stuff and found a way to simplify without feeling like it was dumbing it down and get more energy out of it, because sometimes pulling back and being more simple can produce insanity and energy as well. That's not to say that being more crazy can't produce awesomeness, because that's why we're here. That's why we're watching it again. That's why it's like impacted us so much. It's fucking cool. Yeah, somewhere in the middle, you know? Okay, we gotta keep going. I gotta talk about the music, too. And I talked about this during the actual reactions, like industrial ambient that goes slowly builds all the way through the episode. And it's fucking all the way up to like a climax and then drops into like more epicness to build to a bigger epic climax as we get the fucking cum shot sequence, you know? Damn, he got me.
俺を巻き込んで二人で強制的に始めやがったやつかの剣異界新書マコラ
God, those feel really like they're gonna whip me. Scary. Yeah, fuck you. And we get we get down here. Hey, you piece of shit. I'll be the first to pass on. Good luck. I'm out of here. I like that much better. Oh, I guess I'll be the first to pass on is probably colloquially the same as like I'll see you in hell. Like we're both gonna die, but I'm first. So it's like I'm just opening the door for you. Later, bitch. Fuck. Fucking hell. Do I have enough space? Do I have disk space? No. Shit. Okay, now I do. Ka-chunk. Thunk, 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 bam. Wait. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Oh.
待てふざけんなよこんな起きろよクソ術者
Oh, it's so sick. And that's when we cut over here to Sukuna instead. It's when he gets into danger there. But instead we explain his technique, Haruta, Shigemo. Here's this, here's smash. We don't explain that here. Okay, I do love the erases little miracles. And a miracle is released when he's facing a threat. Fuck. He's fine. He's fine. So we drop from third party semi-omniscient in terms of our POV. Like we're in this watching it. We're in multiple places all at once, right? We're able to be in the past. We're able to be in the present. We're able to set our scene and watch it from multiple angles. We're in third-party omniscient perspective narratively. We're not in anybody's locked-in perspective. We hop from here, like, we close the perspective a lot. We narrow the playing field to be like, this is our fight now. And then we unleash something that's going to jump out of that. Here, we jump around, get up, and get down. Changes, shift into a different space. Still in third-party omniscient, and then narrator-san jumps in. And narrator-san jumping in smooths our transition over to being directly inside Sukuna's head, which is where we're about to get. Because we don't go from... We're not in third-party anymore. We're inside Sukuna's head. And I would say... Yeah, from this point on in the episode, we're entirely in Sukuna's perspective, right? Yeah. No, we're not. We're in Itadori's perspective. We're not in control. We get the privilege of being able to see inside his head, inside Sukuna's head. I don't know if Itadori can, it doesn't really matter. But I nailed it last time when I said that we're watching the movie that Itadori is getting to watch. That's exactly what it is. We set up our perspective flow like that, like third person omniscient, just like setting up our space being different. Our space is different. Our space is dramatically different. Our space gets shattered. Okay? Our perspective is wide. Our perspective is small and crushed and like and internal. And then our perspective is shattered by like it's brought to the person and then shattered by Sukuna's emergence here. This is a 1v1 fight, and then Sukuna's here, and it's not anymore. Whoa. And narrator-san being brought in flows us into that. Whoa. So it was right to save him. If this trash dies, Megumi will too, and I need him for something. Don't die. There's something I need you to do. Does he need him to kill Gojo? Maybe there's something else. I don't know. Ow.
死ねば儀式終了。伏黒恵の死も確定してしまう。死ぬな。お前にはやってもらわねばならんことがある。黙れ。伏黒恵を生かすには、異分子の俺がこの式神を倒し、長伏の儀をなかったこととする。味見といったところだな。
And that is the point at which we have an episode transition and a chapter transition at once. Okay, so far, I would say it's very obvious that a lot has been done to adapt, but overall, we're with the flow of the manga pretty intently, scene to scene. Cool. Onward. I believe this is 3 chapters. Back to industrial ambient and a different style. Just breathing tension. Okay, we're gonna move up to it. Never mind. Okay. Not a direct adaptation. Can I point out the fire sound? This is the fire sound. When I call something the fire sound, this is the sound that I'm talking about. It's like... That one. That one. It's used often when fire stuff happens or explosions and stuff. It's the glow and then this all warping. God, that's so fucking cool. Because it all happens, right? first he moves out of the way an instant before, and then his losing him causes it to burst through, and our camera gets whomped by it. Everything zooms, and it doesn't just zoom it, like there's an effect put on it. It's drawn, it's impacty, it's powerful. So he blocks it. I'm not sure. Oh, it's just the blast of energy is hitting him. I have a legitimate problem with this character. I cannot keep his name in my head. It's part of his power, I think. Kzt, flip, and he's through. Oh god, they improved it so much. Oh my god. And he throws out, he flips to the side and throws out the dismantle. Kai. Boom, blast. Okay, so this is, I mean, this, by the way, this is the first time I've looked at any of Gege's art. Really? So, that's interesting. It's different than I expected. But, flow and impact, ta-ta. There's like, ba-doom-ch, 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 to the way that this panel is done. I think it's really cool. So, first of all, the paneling is done sliced, in the same way that, in the same sort of trapezoid that, that Sukuna is actually going to throw out. Chop, chop. And then the panel is executed such that the closure effect, the gap closing effect that occurs as your brain shifts between panels and time flows. It's like your brain's process of in-betweening manga panels, according to Scott McCloud of Understanding Comics, which I might have to go and grab, but for now I understand the concept well enough that I don't need to go and immediately reference it, but that's a accredited source. The closure effect produces the sense of timing, and it's what produces the sense that as you read a manga and there are like still frames of like characters being wistful or whatever, that feels like time is flowing, even as you're reading at the same speed. Or if things are disjointed and conjoined and all part of one thing, or chopped up into bits like this, maybe that feels faster or speedy. In this case, it's nuanced. It's thump, hump, toof. Okay? And our adaptation staff in the anime knows exactly how to read that.
Kai.
Fuh, goof, poof. Kai, boom, pow. Ba, ba, cha. Ba-dum, ch. Like, truly.
Kai.
Beats, man, beats. And then every beat has to, every section of beat, every measure has to fit the whole thing. It's a symphony, man. It's a symphony that's visual, too. And just like a symphony, you know, there are conductors, and then there are section leads, and there are lead artists, lead violins, soloists, people who go on there, do their crazy fucking solo and shit and wow everybody. And there are times when it's not that, it's like everybody working together to create a giant orchestral swell that a soloist can't achieve on their own. But sometimes you need that to drop out and let a single voice be heard clearly. The parallels that we've discovered here, weirdly, between animation and music, and in like a broad symphonic sense, on the production front, are very interesting too. Info. Ka-dunk. Adaptation. Oh, the popcorn's added. He doesn't have popcorn. It's such a good beat. It was just a chance to do his inner stuff. So here in the manga, he realizes its wounds are healed, it did something, when he hasn't like said that yet. Okay, and here he does a slash, and it deflects it, and he goes, it deflected, you can see it, you can see my cursed technique. And for some reason I feel like there was like an enormous building thwomping sequence where we broke a bunch of shit that doesn't appear to be in the manga. So let me see. Whip, crunch, popcorn. None of this happened. This isn't there. Smash, bam, blah, blah. None of this is here. This is all new. Oh, that's the fucking awesomeness. Holy shit. What's that a reference to? What's that a reference to? It's a giant robot. It's like an old one. It's like Mazinger at level obvious reference. I have no fucking idea. I'm feeling like, I don't know. I have no idea. Something about it did the wibbly to me. Holy fuck, what am I even looking at? Okay, so at the point where he gets to, it's similar to Yamato no Orochi. That's when we'll stop again. But this hasn't happened yet. None of this fight has happened yet. So he does the thwip, deflect. You can see. He does this block to the side when Mahoraga counters. Mahoraga, I don't know the difference. I don't understand. Gets flumped around. Whammed through a building, I guess. Yeah, whammed through this big building, which I think that in the animation it ends up being the Mappa studio. We fight a bit inside. He punches him a little bit. Does a my turn and slices him up a bit. And then that's the one where he's dropping him from the sky to the ground, and then he understands, and we get the ka-chunk, and that's when we're like piecing it together. That's like 8 minutes away or some shit. That doesn't happen soon. Okay. Boom, pop, double hammer fist, slam, missed. Dodged it by an inch, lands on your fists, spinning like flare kick thing, completely in control of himself in space, DBZ style, like is able to magically generate force while flying. Although I guess it's even better than that because he generates the force from his foot and is like actually breakdancing into it. Gets grabbed by the hood. Like, I think I would even go so far as to want to be more look-like. Have you ever been so far as to want to go more look-like? I would go so far as to say, like, Sukuna dodged perfectly. Yes? But isn't completely aware of what Itadori usually wears as clothing. And so his perfect dodging, Makura was able to catch his hood still. And now Sukuna will not be caught by the hood again. He just wasn't completely aware of it. That's my take. I don't think it's true, but it's like, that is the level at which Weilin Zhang storyboarded a lot of this. And I don't know if this part is that, but gotta take it seriously, you know? Also, complete loss of comprehension into bubble space is so sick. And then, this is a form or a flow or a style that's throughout are these like dark shadow faces, and they really remind me of All Might and Hiroaka, like the smile through pure darkness in the shadow face. It really reminds me of that. And interestingly, I was really excited to see what those look like in manga, and they don't seem to appear. So I think that they're a stylistic choice by a particular animator, one who has probably worked on Hiroaka, and I wonder what's up with that, because they're dank, and I like them a lot. These choppy lines are so cool. They look like, I forget what they're called. They look like something. Ones, motherfuck. Of course it's on ones. Why wouldn't it be on ones? Why wouldn't it be? So we back and forth, and this is where we start to enter this flow of blows that I finally came to understand a little bit just a minute ago as I was reading a comment here from Ninja Pope Zhu, who writes, "The greatest fighting sequences I've ever experienced are all battles that I imagined in my head, especially when I was younger and my imagination was more vivid. When it's all in your head, there's no need to worry about concepts like, it's impossible to animate, you can't actually do this. No one else will ever see them because they'll never leave the realm of my mind, and I am incapable of manifesting them into actual media. It seems Weilin actually had the opportunity to put one of his own imaginary spectacles onto paper and have it animated, which is absolutely awesome." I agree, and what this finally made me realize, reading this comment from Ninja Pope Zhu finally made me realize, is where there's a connection for me in these fight sequences from an animation perspective, and it's a bit of a deep cut, and a rest in peace moment, because there's one person who reminds me of that in the type of like obsessive detail toward particular interactions making particular sense over the course of a piece of animation. And it's this guy. It's this guy. Oh, shit. Music by Juno Reactor. I didn't even realize. That makes sense. It's probably Matrix music. Because this animation, millions of views on it, this machinima animation by Monty with as a pure passion project to animate the fight scenes and choreography that go on inside his head is what launched his animation career and ended up leading to the development of a show that has gone way off the rails, but many people fell in love with initially because of this type of expression. RWBY, a show that Monty directed and created entirely, but directed the first 2 seasons of. And the standout thing about those seasons is not the storytelling or the characters, the cuteness. Those things hit a like cultural niche vibe that happened to work in a really interesting way. The thing that's most interesting about RWBY is that it is a vehicle for Monty to play out his own insane superhero battle animation fantasies that came to a head here with Samus versus Master Chief and kept going from there, taking these characters and imagining what would it be like if Samus had a lightsaber was fighting a horde of drones. What would it be like if these characters had sexy beats and cool moments in between a giant epic movie level battle with proper cinematography and stuff. And Monty found that he could do it this way, through this form of expression. Waylon found that he could do it this way, through this form of expression. I found that I could do it my own ways, through my own forms of expression. But there's something pivotally powerful about expressing a vision that only you can see and finding outlets for it in some way, shape, or form. It's the kind of thing that changes people's lives dramatically. Very fucking cool. Some of this discussions could be about the nature of art. How can it not be? Fuck. Shit. Fuck. More beats that just don't exist, you know? None of that exists either. The whole, like, ka-chunking head-face sequence thing. God, the chapter just goes up to the point where he malevolent shrines. And then probably the next chapter is just the battle in the malevolent shrine. How much more did... Ka-chunk. And now we get the whole thump, 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 thump. No fist blows. No falling through the building. None of that is in the manga. None of the coolest shit. Fuck. Fuck. Ka-chunk. And then we get oh. If I'm understanding correctly, it'll stand up. Ka-chunk. Exactly as I thought. Or maybe that comes in a moment. But we take a moment before that to add in that thing that Hakyuko talked about. That perspective of the ordinary people. Let's not get lost in this and think of ourselves as a part of this conflict. These are gods and we're ants. There's no escape. You are at their whim entirely. This city has become their battleground. And we shift back into this insane rate of change. And some of the more crazy animation stuff. Straight through shoom. He sliced them. I love that smoke. Fuck. Oh, it's so smoothly transitioned. Bro. Mouth neck. Mouth neck. Bite you with my neck teeth. Full. Oh, these little flashes. It's like invisible. Obviously it's not. It's like a whole bunch of frames, but the energy that shows up, it looks like almost a black flash. It probably isn't. The complete shapelessness, again, has that vibe that I mentioned earlier where... Or no, I mentioned this yesterday in Free Ren, where it's like the Kaganashi aspect is almost as though characters or elements are getting the lines punched off of them. Like they're moving so fast that the line art can't keep up. And then once it slows down and our camera's in focus, the line art keeps up. It's like... It's very fun. Again, these are beats. The stuff bubbling and everything is like a beat. It's like a hold in a moment. Mataka. Okay, and that's where our kick-in is. And we're in completely anime-only sequence stuff. And we're moving back up into the sky because dropping him to the ground is where we need to get to for our reconvene point toward the manga, right? We need to get to this point where he gets battered down to the ground and understands the ability. So we need to get him back up into the sky after basically ignoring the sequence that is here and expanding it by like tenfold. We got to get him back up into the sky in a cool sequence and then bash him back down. So the question becomes, how do we do that in the most fun way? Because we've given ourselves this room to play, we've given ourselves, our studio this room to, like, experiment and be like, well, we don't have to be aligned with the manga completely. We've got X amount of time to fill. How do we fill a minute, 2 minutes of extra time that we're adding with whatever's coolest? And then they do it. And it's fucking awesome. None of this happens. All of the wires and cables, all the like environment manipulation and stuff. It makes Sukuna feel so in control of this space and situation in a way that isn't really there in the manga. It also extends to humanize and continue that flow of like, these are so huge. So we pop into some of my favorite stuff. Camera rotates, fist rotates, opposite directions, creates so much power. And then we just do it again with like camera so effortlessly flying up and around and above our character. It's easy to do. All we have to do is bring the background into frame as he levels out, but it gives us this distinct sense that like Sukuna transcends worlds and holds himself there. It's very much what Gojo was doing when he was floating above. It's like they're mirrored to each other in lots of ways. And then slam with the train, a beat. Don't even understand. I don't need to. And then we're into POV and out of it, and this is where we reconnect. Because here, thwam. But, okay, so actually, here's what happened. We had this moment over here where he slashes him the once, and Mahoraga goes to slash him back the once, and in between those two moments, and he goes to block, and in between those two moments, we went from, like, here in the fight 7 minutes to like 11 minutes. So we did 4 minutes in between 0 panels of manga. And all of it was just pure action, just like top tier pure action with a perfect rhythm to it, offset by like these different perspectives. That all just takes us right back up to here. And it gets us back in his head as he's thinking about what it could be. And as we're battered around the environment once more. But instead we're in... Get that face from below. Pure Kaganashi straight through. Super huge. Very much reminds me of like the Evangelion, the weird ones at the end. The teeth and stuff. Wham boom through this space. I looked at this so many times, but now seeing it in flow again, it makes much more sense. We haven't even gotten to the interesting shit in the episode yet. This is awesome. Again to perspective. And here we go. Now you see it. You see it, don't you? You see my technique. So in the wham bam, thwam, and through stuff, that's where we're at. Not bad. My turn. Oh no, even before. Oh my god. Insane. Destruction, destruction, destruction. All as like a backdrop to how much fun Sukuna's having. And we go out of control here because we're in Wayland territory. And this is where we're going to start like really doing the Samus Aran versus Master Chief battle, where it's like everything that Wayland could imagine that isn't in the manga at all. All the chopping things and throwing them at each other, and all the like the feinting and back and forth. And then I want to reference something that came up in the Discord. Alex, Lactose Intolerant, wrote, "This is neither here nor there, but it's going to be funny when in 10 years there will inevitably be other great shows who will take inspiration from this one ep, and thus have JJK be the blueprint for those X copied from Y posts instead of the one on the receiving end. That's how art works, baby. Specifically, Sukuna's wavy hand motions, I can see someone wanting to do something similar in the future." Yeah. Bet. We saw this, it's Wayland, we know. We're going to watch it again. Fuck. What? Where does that background element come from? Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. And then he's still tossing it, and then it's his torso flying as well. So then we follow the arm, and then we'll follow the torso. Arm, torso. King, and then we're like just floating together. In perfect stillness, kind of. And then suddenly... Too much to be able to focus on. We lose it to light and shadow. We lose it to smears. And then we lose it to beyond that. To like... I don't know. To evoking. To tumbling, to taking the lights and shapes of this world and throwing them at each other. Boom. Boom. In perfect control. In perfect control as they tumble, as they fight. Looking always, Sukuna's always like Drunken Master, looking like he's in danger or vulnerable, and he's always just out of the way. That's why I think that when he got caught by the hood, it was like a slight miscalculation, a lack of remembering. And then we change the style because Sukuna wants us to believe. This is what I didn't really understand about this cut until understanding much later. We change this style because we're meant to, like, what it wants to evoke from us is like, oh, something interesting is going to happen. Something different. Something crazy, which is exactly what he's trying to evoke. What Sukuna as the character is trying to create is that feeling of like, oh, gotta block this one. And it's a fake. And he's like, now I've got you. Now you're playing my game. Now I'm in your head, right? Ding! Wah! And jumps back and takes a pose. Ding, and again. And then hits him with a casual nonchalance that's like, you took my feint, and now I hit you. It's the experienced fighter picking somebody apart. And now he's feinting, and the smile is there, and it's like, you can't tell what I'm gonna do. And all he's doing is fainting. So it's just the lights of the city, and Makura's like, gotta block everything, because it's too much. Fa. And they're all blocks, they're all attacks, they're all part of a shadowboxing fight that he's not even doing, because he's in somebody else's wham, and he gets hit by the one he doesn't expect. He's got this whole game plan. He's like, alright, I'm gonna slip, weave, dodge, duck, block, parry, prevent everything, wax on, wax off, and I got hit in the side of the face, and I'm out. I woke up 10 minutes later, and my coach was standing over me going, hi, buddy, how you doing? You feel okay? What? Wham. And is reborn from blood. Sing. Music kicks back in. So we go into this space of like, Vah is the only music. And then we hold this shot, which is mentioned in Wayland's thing. We hold this, and everything else rotates around it. And he's not even moving, right? At this point, he's psyched him out completely. And so Makura is still performing all the moves. And then adapts. And suddenly he's close to hitting. And that's part of why he smiles. He realizes it. A good fight. Bing. Bam. Literally none of this fucking exists. Literally none of it. The whole episode. He's fucking sympho-gearing. Yes, he is. Vincent Chansard. Also very funny that I mentioned that cut was very One Piece-y. One Piece can be jealous. I don't know why that hits my brain so good. Just this, like, chillin', ready for it. Bam. Wow. Okay, we're 14 in. Composer. Somebody watched the Let the World Burn music video. Let the world burn down! Regenning as it goes. Whoa, my God, folks, what the fuck? And there's this mouth behind it, like out of the clouds. You see that shit? Why is that even there? It can't be followed. You can't even compute it. It's just happening. We changed styles. It's different now. I don't understand. Who has the time and money? Are we... Audio goes out, adapt to anything, the lights change. But he's not fucking gone at all. Again, like just complete... Oh, and then it blooms into bells. No CG here, by the way. I was wrong. Now we free run. Battered down to earth. It's like the fabric of reality itself. I knew it. Just as I thought. Ah, so here we are. Recognizes it, realize what it is. And so, I have only one option. And he's speaking of the time when Sukuna almost was taking over Itadori's body. And when he noticed and was like, oh shit. But not today. Today he's got it. And so we go on from here into completely Sukuna's realm. Completely his place. Not just the domain or the shrine, but like, he owns this space after this moment. Once he understands and realizes and comprehends, there's no escaping him. Almost there is, and we'll get there in a moment. You sure showed me the way. Different. Of course, the animation is spectacular. Now, domain is a curious one, and types of slashing attacks. Oh, they get referenced as 2 types of chef's knives. That's very cool. Default, dismantle. The other, cleave, which can be adjusted. Doesn't create a separate space. It realizes the innate domain without using a barrier. Painting on air. A divine technique. Plus an escape route. A binding vow. And so the radius is huge. And it's not just an instant hit radius. It's the everything there. So there's our transition into pure epicness. We've got these choral voices and like angelic, divine technique type stuff. Before we get too deep into this, I want to know who the narrator is. She's Haman Khan! Oh no, that's what I'm supposed to be watching today. Flash, 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 hold. Oh, the background entirely comes in. That's what it is. Pop. And then red, and then gone. Vaporized. As is everything else in the space, chopped bits. In the manga, we show that with just this one panel chopped through. And then the people, and then the aftermath. Got the megaphone guy. That fade out of voice and like and subtitles and stuff is fucking awesome. That really hits. So everything gets attacked. And then we have the most insane sequences. Just striding forward. I mean, this is rooted in a lot of people's brains now. It's the disconnects of his flesh. This is what I want for Fire Punch. Can I express that to you? There's this manga that I don't think can be adapted very effectively because it's Fire Punch. If it was like this, I think it would be okay. But it would need to be like this. So this has been, a lot of people shared this as one of their favorite cuts because the expressions that Sukuna goes through as he's putting the pressure in, sees it, notices it. No worries, I got more for you. I'm an endless wellspring of options. And doubles down and brings something else to bear. Notices. Okay then, double down and change. And we go to fire. We don't want it to adapt to slices in general, so we'll go with something for real. So, no risk. And so he calls fire.
Mahoragaの再生が終わろうとしていた。
God, it's just like 2 panels. It's like 2 panels, and it's the whole finale of this episode. Oh, it's so sick.
Fuga.
Another style. Ba-dum-dum. And now that's just Aftermath. And it's all over. Like it didn't happen. But there's a gaping pit. And we're out of our letterbox. The movie's over. The credits roll. And you're just sitting stunned in your seat. With great pleasure, he gives him back. So here's where he gets sliced. Not much longer. Hey, brat, take a good look. And that's when we play fucking specials. Fuck. Holy shit. Okay. So because of the way that Sakakaburu is fucked, I'm gonna go 500 and up, okay? Fire. Fire everywhere. Tsujigami and Okido. There are gonna be tons of things where it's like this, where it's like 5 times longer than this. I'm not gonna go through those granularly unless there are particular things that I must see. Fire's dope. Ah, smash, bang, flip, flip, flip. This is Verkreek? That makes sense. Oh, that style with the faces as well is Verkreek. Oh. Thump, 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 thump. Walking, walking, walking. I do like these little cuts here. Akugo. Oh, yes. And Arai. And Sunakohara and Tomioka. Wow, what a stack. For all this fucking... Just for all this? 0 to 02.5, go. 2.6 to 6, Sunakohara. All this. 6 to 8.7, that's Arai. Oh. That's Arai. And then this is Tomioka. Whoa, sick. Okay. See the old versions to compare. Okay. Slam. Yeah, we move through. Thumbity thwam. Zoom to the sky. And then this where we... Is this where we level out as well? No, not quite. This is where we swoop through space and have to cover these, like, couple minutes of interesting time. This is the first attack. Yeah. And then into the first response to it. The swoop, thwam, bam, bam, bam beats. This is Shoichi. With Sota Yamazaki as the AD. Okay. Unknown and Kai Shibata. Where they didn't fix the perspective issue. At 9 to 10. Okay. Oh, yeah, this is where we start really moving. Thump, thump, thump. Through the background. I don't know exactly what he means. I don't understand what is wrong with that cut exactly. Because that part is in the manga and is like framed well. I wonder, this flash that's here. Boom, this right here. Where am I at? I'm at 29. Kiro at 30. That's what I would think. This right here. somebody interesting. I don't know. It's a different animator who did that for sure. But I don't know if it's Kiro. This is so sick. Hone Hone's rough and Ganga reminds me of a Utapon cut. That's fair. I mean, this zooming through space stuff is very Space Dandy-ish, very Yutai. Very Deku Hiroaki. This big uppercut is so sick. And I love these Kaganashi flashes that are throughout. Again, I love what they do for movement. Aditya, oh my god. Tsuchigami, Juni, Artist Unknown, Dorian Colon, Teeaboo, Teppei Okuda, Zisho Xiao. So part of this is because it's so heavily outsourced in multiple ways, and the redraws and stuff are crazy, but I'm not going to be able to follow this. But this is the whole Smash Bang sequence. And of course this is multi-animated. There are so many styles that get to be shown and used here. And then even more so once we get really whippy with stuff. Like that should be a separate cut, I think, from the rest of the sequence. I'd rather have the... It doesn't matter, it's fine. I think this is actually 3 cuts that should be separated. It should be this section leading up to the end of the Thwam Bam Bam Bam, right? And then we should cut that right here and move in like right, or maybe right here, and move into here's this portion where we're doing stuff with chains and whips and stuff, whipping around, throwing, bashing. And then now this is a third portion where we get the car and we're doing all cars up in the sky and flying around, and that's a separate section. Okay. It's cool. It's all cool. RI, the light, the explosion, the actual vaporization of the space. It's different than any explosion can be because it's not an explosion, right? It's a disintegration. It's slicing. It's that building getting paper shredded in all directions all at once. Spectacular. Terrifying. Chopped up. Yamazaki Onsen Shun. This is big, spinny, swooshy. And these downward movements. They're very close to the like, even if they're key animated, they're very close to Zhang's storyboards. So, like, you can see that that's a lot of the artistic intent. This stuff is fucking awesome, though. Who do we go to when we go Shadowless here at 10? Harumi Yamazaki, and then Nakia Onsen. Ah! That makes sense. This part being Onsen, which is what it is, right? No, it's 15.9 to the end is Yamazaki. This thing with the big teeth really reminds me of those Evas. Okay. Mori-san, we saw this. We looked at this in depth, and for good fucking reason. It's goddamn awesome. Holy shit, from the light stuff at the beginning. Oh, it's so different. This is the original. This is before the Blu-ray. Look at that. Oh my god. It's so different. Interesting. Okay. Oh my god. And then this is Chansard, Niho, Sunakahara, Shigetsugu, Legier, Kato. A lot of non-Japanese names and like webgen animators, you can tell. Lu, go. Okay. Whoa. Kai Igarashi, yeah. Oh, and a lot of them are NC. The pure destruction throughout. It's almost like Madoka Magica-y. Like space is all shifting all at once. Is kind of that paper cut Madoka Magica style. Composer. Blaster. Reemergent. Malevolent Shrine. Also very, very Kekai Sensen. The slowdown especially. Oh man, I wish that this was the thump into the water, because that's cool as fuck, but this whole spinning thing afterward is amazing as well. Kim, Nakamura, Kurosaki. Oh, this is the original thump, and then wham, and then chase him up the thing, and big swinging punch, tumble backward, handsprings, up through the sky, big dive. That's got to be something. That's some reference, and I can't track it. I think it's a robot. Grabbed, sliced, back and forth. Like, this is the first part of the battle, so like neither of them really have their footing. They're just throwing their attacks at each other, not knowing how to react. And Sukuna hasn't established control over the situation yet. But he's nonplussed. He's not like freaking out. Super sick, super sick. Hironori Tanaka as he brings out Malevolent Shrine. The whole sequence is Tanaka. Which makes sense. He was also responsible for the Mahito cut, right? Nope. but was on that other thing. This shit's crazy. Oh, this is Chansard. That makes sense. Oh my god, that makes so much sense. It looks so much like certain One Piece cuts, like Dude with Many Swords. I've seen like clips of Dude with Many Swords like fighting very much like this that I'll bet you anything are animated by Chansard. Zooming through is so fucking sick. And then this, of course. Start through 3 is Vincent, 3.1. Oh, yeah, so the first portion, the initial battle here is Vincent, and then the end portion here is Vincent, but everything in the middle that's like this slowdown and like holding things together is Hakuko. This thing is Vincent. This thing is Vincent, and that feels like him. Holy shit, cool. This is the second piece of the fire cut. Of course, the first piece is going to be, I think, the top related, or maybe the second to top related of all of these. First fireball, full Fuga. The style is incredible. It looks like it's all sliced or sketchy. It makes me wonder if this extended power is somehow an extension of breaking things, of slicing things. Fire oxidation is like a process of attaching and breaking compounds. Like, so it's possible that considering it a form of destruction is correct. Somebody threw out an idea, a concept that I think made a lot of sense. I can't remember whether it was in the Discord or elsewhere. The idea is that maybe what Sukuna is doing here is actually going so deep that he's splitting atoms and using his own cleaving mechanics to produce friction and heat to the extent, like, I think maybe it's just producing friction and heat by chopping things, by slicing fast enough, right? But maybe it's going so far as that it actually is nuclear fission or something. I don't fucking know. It's wild. And then it's like denouement is occurring as we're watching the explosion. It fades and things come back. But man, things will never be the same again. Here we got Go and Chansard again for this big swinging stuff and this whole cut up through here and the let the world burn sequence. That feels so One Piece to me. That escalation into incredible speed and all this flying through. Who animates like that? Vincent Chansard does. Is this style inspired from Nakamura? Yes. Yes. In Saitama versus Boros. Yes. Yeah, it's actually exactly like that. Beep, 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 beep. And the like bouncing around, transitioning to lights, becoming semi-shadowless, turning into blobs or goop as though you're like not just getting the spit punched out of you, but the color punched out of you. Yeah, excellent. Bahi JD is on this. Bahi, Julian Bentley, whose brain works like a fucking king and is going to be throwing these boulders around. And I don't know Bahi, but it makes sense with this swooping through space to me. And the perfection of it. And the movement. This. Is that right? 6 to 12, yes, that is right. 6 to 12 is Bahi. This movement, yeah, that's Bahi. Okay, you can tell, right? Voom. Look at that grab. Look at that motion. Look at that, like, planting of feet and throwing a thing. That's so Bahi. And then the silliness of the leg kicked up and stuff. That's so Bahi. It's not even funny. It's a little funny. Twam bam, boom bam. Top tier. This is confirmed. Saucelot, Vincent, TNK, and Tsunakahara. Whoa. Everything about it, from the face stuff to the what's going on in the background to what's going on in this initial moment where it's incomprehensibly colored. To his expressions as he moves into it, to the actual explosion of fire and destruction itself. And then in context, the music and the flow of the whole thing. Suddenly we come to a climax, a crescendo, and it's when Sukuna chooses for it to be. Oh, this does have a current artist thing. That's fucking sick. Impossible to track. But we saw that all of this was storyboard by Waylon. Right? This is untrackable. But we will watch it through. It's a full minute. Zing. Bam. Torso. Ding! Floating, shots. Oil painting soon. Oh no, total unknowns, right? And playing with him, total unknowns and playing with him, flying through, tumbling through space. The head keeps up and reborn. Oil painting, faint. React, not a faint. No reaction. Faint, 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 react. Faint, 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 real. Back behind. Faint, 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 faint. Got you. Attacking, 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 attacking. Fainting, fainting, fainting the entire time. Reacting and counterpunching the entire time. Reacting and counterpunching the entire time. Always hitting when he actually wants to. Always hitting when he actually wants to. Never getting hit. Locked in, locked in, locked in, locked in. Not even moving. Just calling you out. You aren't. And then he registers and has moved on. Now a punch hits. And that's the end of the sequence. I feel like post-Sakuga Buru clarity. It's like I've had blue balls for a whole week and finally got to figure that situation out. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to go through this episode and spend the time that it deserves and do it in a context where I've had the time to like percolate and process and it's less overwhelming. To go through it and feel more of it, but also to watch it in a coherent way so that it like all flows together in my mind. Because I can't really do that when I go back through a video right at the end and like go back into the episode and check it out. I've got to give it some time. And often that'll come up in the next episode to talk in the morning or in the beginning of the next episode as I transition into it. But when there's another hour and a half to talk about, I don't feel like I can put that at the beginning of the next episode, you know? It doesn't really work that way. So, thank you for coming along with me on this long walk. I hope it's been a good one, and I hope you've enjoyed the scenery. If you like this kind of content, let me know. If you have any ideas about how to make content that's somewhat more like this, but not completely like this, in a way that might be more consistent, let me know. If there's, it might be the kind of thing that would be cool to do once a month or every couple months, is like, let people vote on one episode that I've watched in the past month or like past year or whatever that they want me to revisit. Not a show, right? Because we've talked about doing full shows, but like one episode that's worth revisiting. I'd be down to do that sometimes, like this. If this could be a consistent, like, small-scale form of content creation for me, to be looking through things in this less formal, more informal, more casual, more stream of consciousness format, that is also very much more like I'm streaming. It's more like what Psyculturist's Ed does as he like streams through a whole episode and talks about it with Chad and does all those things. There are elements of that I could do that are appealing, but I still want to create edited videos and like not be locked into streaming at a particular time or anything like that. So I'm not sure how to proceed. I'm going to have to figure out a whole bunch of this in editing and figure out what I'm able to actually include in the video. Certainly not much of the sound and almost certainly very little of the video, but much of the going through it and stuff. I'm gonna have to go through it pretty carefully and cut it up to make sure that any like breaks that I took or like wasted time that's in the video gets sliced out. I said an hour and a half of video, but we're at an hour and almost 2 hours of actual recording, so that's my guesstimate for how much I'm gonna have to cut out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this sates your desire for Jujutsu Kaisen this week. This is what we're doing this week for Jujutsu Kaisen. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for the long walk with me. It's worth taking the time. This is something that maybe Freeren has made me aware of. It's worth taking the time in the moment to savor something that you feel really powerfully about and to figure out more of it. Even if that means taking like a moment to rest and wait and think before going and jumping into the next thing. So hopefully this bridges the gap pretty excitingly. Cool? Cool. Love you very much. Thanks so much for watching with me. I'll see you next week for actual new Jujutsu Kaisen content. Much love. Peace.